Welcome once again. Please feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself. Please let us know where you are joining from. We have just a minute to join to start the meeting, the training, please.
Good afternoon, Sir Bello.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Ibrahim Yunusa.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Okay, my name is Ibrahim Yunusa. I'm calling from Adamawa State, Yola.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. My name is Shafiu Ahmad. I'm calling from Zaria District Society, Zaria and District Society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isa. Please, can we just use the available chat? Let us chat our name and membership so that the calling will not be, the training will not be disrupted with our calling. Please, let's use our means of communication like chatting and to communicate our presence and our registration number. Please. Thank you very much for trying to get in touch with me, but that one will be better off for every one of us. I appreciate your calling. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and you are welcome to Sokoto District webinar. We're happy to have you here today. My name is Bello Gani Uleke, and I will be your moderator for this session. We're here today to discuss understanding Nigeria New Tax Act, key changes, implications, and compliance strategies. We have a speaker who is a multifaceted expert for you here. I believe at the end of the training today, you have a lot to go home with. I believe you will not forget having a training with Sokoto District today. Thank you all. Before we dive in, let us have the housekeeping rules. We encourage you to ask questions through the webinar. Question and answer, raise hands button when you want to ask a question. The chat board is also available. Comment and networking. Also note that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared accordingly after the training. You are all welcome once again. Please, let us have the national item and the icon item. Thank you.
Habilita. We go over the meeting. Your data bundle has exhausted. Jesus.
Technical secretary, there is no audio. There is no audio. And somebody is using marker board to scratch the screen.
Hey, want to wipe off data there's a yeah. Want to wipe off data there's
Hello, please, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
You can hear me.
we can hear you.
Okay, please. It's like they say you can't hear the.
Yes, when you play the national anthem and that kind of thing.
We were not hearing initially.
Okay, sorry for that, please. Apology for that, please.
Hello, Technical Secretary. Hello, Technical Secretary. Are you still there? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, you can hear me.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, Technical Secretary. Are you there?
Yes.
We can't hear anything from your hand. But what's next? Are you done with the national item so that we can move to the next on agenda?
Move to the next agenda
Yes.
now.
Yes, I was told that people couldn't hear the national item. Hello? Can you hear now?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You can hear.
Hello?
There is sound now.
In brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
you very much. I'm very for the way. Thank you for your patience. Please, the opening remarks will be presented by our Mr. Chairman in person of Alhaji A. Mustafa Ganiu, ACA. Chairman, please, can you give us opening remarks?
Okay. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, professional colleagues and our erudite scholars joining us around the world this afternoon. It might interest you to know that apart from this Zoom capacity, we are equally live on our YouTube page. So please, we'll be posting the YouTube link here, not for your use for the purpose of subscribing to our handle. After this, we have some people joining live from YouTube. So this afternoon, on behalf of our Institute of Chartered Accountant of Nigeria, ICANN, Sokoto and District Society, I extend a very welcome to you all this afternoon to this very crucial webinar as we gather here today to dissect the subject on the Understanding Nigerian New Tax Act. That's the key changes and implications. As we all know that the recent tax acts actually represent most significant shift in our tax landscape over years. And for us as an accountant, as business leaders, advisors, practitioners, we need to understand the key changes to these very important acts. And that is why we are bringing this to you this afternoon. We are privileged to have the expert speaker, which is going to be our district coordinator as well. We are blessed and we are lucky to have him today. He's a very motivated speaker in person of Dr. Kingsley, FCA, which is going to guide us through this complex terrain. So I encourage everybody this afternoon to participate actively, as it's going to be of more practical, not to be of theoretical. And after the webinar, I also encourage us to use all the various channels to put our questions, both by raising our hand or by using Q&A chat box. So thank you so much to our esteemed speaker, as he's sharing his expertise to all of us this afternoon. We appreciate your commitment to professional development. Welcome and wish all of us a very insightful session. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you and over.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your brief opening remarks. Please,
You're welcome.
the... Thank you. Please. Please. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes, please go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you very much.
We can.
Please, let's have a brief profile of Dr. Ayonse Kingsley Udubwese, FCTI FCA. Dr. Kingsley Udubwese Ayonse, a consummate financial and accounting professional, is a member of Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN. Academically, Kingsley holds a doctorate degree in Business Administration, DBA, obtained from esteemed Lagos State University, LASU, Ojo, Lagos, Nigeria, where he is extremely well thought of. Prior to this, he bagged both Master of Science degree in Finance from the prestigious University of Lagos and Master of Business Administration, MBA, the degree from the renowned Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso. Additionally, he holds dual graduate degree certificate both in field of banking and finance, BSc BSc, and also accounting. Professionally, Dr. Ayonse is a chartered accountant with fellowship awards, FCA, obtained from the prestigious Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, in 2015, and FCTI from the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CIT, in 2015. Also in his kitty, he's the Associateship ACSI certification from the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, CIS, UK. He is a co-founder and astute director with Password Professional Tutor Limited, PPT. He is also a founder and also the principal partner with the firm of Massa, Kingsley Ayonde and Co., Chartered Accountant. He has published widely in the global academic arena, and he is the author of the following well-researched publication, Essential of Corporate Strategic Management and Ethics, CSME, Descriptive Audit and Assurance Dictionary, DAAD, Basic Concept on Management, Governance and Ethics, MGE, First Aid to Advanced Audit and Assurance, AA. Additionally, he has also successfully authored and co-authored some articles published in a reputable journal like the Nigerian Accountant, that is the official journal of ICANN, and others. Kingsley is a regular columnist both for Business Day, These Days News, member of the Arise TV group, and featured regularly on TV programs as a guest on national and tropical issues. Dr. Ayonse, in time past, was a visiting lecturer in both the skill level audit and assurance, AA, and final level audits, advanced audit and assurance, AAA. The following Anchor Institute Center under the Institute of Student Special Project SPP scheme, such as ICANN Studies Center Calabar, Cross River State, ICANN Studies Center Kano State. Recently, Dr. Ayonse was bestowed with prestigious award of Knight of John Wesley, KJW, by the Premier Church in Nigeria. In his kitty is well over 2 decades of postgraduate wealth of experience spanning through the private sector, banking, public accountancy, practice, and human capacity building, where he has been actively involved in the training, retraining programs for staff of blue chip organizations such as Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, FRC, and Co-Chair Technology Limited, a member of Co-Chair Group of Companies. Sir Dr. Kingsley Udubeze Ayonse is married to his adorable soulmate, Lady Dr. Mrs. Dora Amarachi Ayonse, a public health physician by profession, and they are blessed with children. Thank you. Join me to welcome Dr. Kingsley Ayonse.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, we can hear you.
God bless you all. Let me especially extend my heartfelt gratitude to the entire Sokoto and District Society membership of our great institute for finding me worthy to be with us, to come and learn, because I see this avenue as a period for me to come and learn, unlearn, and relearn. Knowledge is an ongoing thing. No one knows it all. So I've also come to share ideas, to learn from this wonderful family of ICANN Sokoto and District. I wish to especially thank the chairman for giving me this great opportunity. This should be my second coming. Incidentally, I was meant to be with us sometime in March, but due to circumstances beyond my control, just few hours to the kickoff time, duty call took me away. And I thank God we were able to get a suitable replacement in the person of Associate Professor Iwendo, who happens to be the man that anchored this training session a couple of weeks back. So I thank you all most sincerely for having me. And as God will have it, I got elected. And when the ballot was picked, surprisingly, I picked Sokoto. So I think by this, I shall be a member of the Sokoto and District Society. Having said that, we have before us a topic titled Understanding the New Nigerian Tax Act. Our emphasis will focus on three key areas. What are those three key areas? Ladies and gentlemen, we shall be looking at the key changes, implication, and compliance strategy. The slide has been structured in a manner that will take us run through in this format. We'll do a small preamble because we'll not just jump into the key changes. We need to look at a lot of things that occurred prior to this. So we'll look at it from the angle of preamble, evolution of tax reform system here in Nigeria. We'll also look at what is the meaning of tax reform? What is the purpose? What are the measures that will assist us to have a meaningful tax reform system? Then we'll now come to the business of the day while we are here. What are those key changes captured in the new Nigerian Tax Act, otherwise known as NTA? What are the implications of these changes? Then what do we need to do as professionals to ensure that we put in place a strong compliance strategy in this regard? Distinguished colleagues, we also look at what is the impact or what are the impacts of these changes as it affects you and I, the ordinary man on the street, individuals. We also look at the impact of these key changes on the business environment with emphasis on small and medium enterprises. Before we wrap it up, we will take a look at benefits of tax reform and some of the challenges which are captured as drawbacks. So this is how the lecture will run for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, God being our helper. So we will start with the preamble. In the world of today, you will bear me witness that the only thing that is constant is change. That is the only that is constant, change. So in view of this, reforms, whether in the area of taxation, in the area of banking, monetary policy, fiscal policy, is something that must be done. The world is not static. The Nigeria of yesterday cannot be the Nigeria of today, likewise the Nigeria of tomorrow. So as life evolves, as things changes, there is bound to be reform. The word reform means change. Let's just take it from that basis. It has to do with change, and the change that will be accustomed to present day reality. This technical session is poised towards understanding the new Nigerian Tax Act, popularly known as NTA 2025, with emphasis on the key changes, implication, and compliance strategy. Like I did say, before we look at the three key issues, we'll take a look at the following: evolution of tax reform, meaning of tax reform, purpose of tax reform, measures that we need to put in place, and above all, benefit and demerit of tax reform system so far. Under the evolution, distinguished colleagues, I need to let us know that the evolution of tax reform here in Nigeria can be categorized into two. What are the two classifications of evolution? We have the pre-independence tax era and the post-independence. This pre-independence occurred from when the nation called Nigeria came into existence. For those of us who happens to be students of government and history, the entity called Nigeria came into existence precisely around 1914, when Lord Lugard amalgamated both the southern and the northern protectorate. So this pre-independent tax era, so to say, commenced from that period when the southern protectorate and the northern protectorate were merged together. And it occurred up till, permit me to say, the last day in September before October 1, 1960. At this period, what we had that was in stake was that government institutions, and again, some persons appointed by government, were charged with the responsibility of assisting government to collect levies and fines. And those levies and fines formed the bedrock of the revenue accruable to the federal government called Nigeria as an entity. So like I said, that was the system we had in place. Then came the post-independence tax era. This period, to me, has spanned for a total number of 65 years, starting from 1st October 1960 till today, the 23rd day of August 2025. For the post-independence tax era, it has evolved over a period. The first on the list was the tax reform of 1978. One of the cardinal issues, or one of the important things that happened at this period, has to do with the introduction of withholding tax. So for the first time, the concept of withholding tax came into existence by virtue of the Tax Reform Act of 1978. Then after that, another reform took effect in 1993. So many things happened, but I'm picking the core issues, the one that we need to go home with. With the advent of the tax reform of 1993 came the introduction of the value-added tax. So the value-added tax came into existence by virtue of the Tax Reform Act of 1993. But I need to put it on record that prior to this period, the entity called Nigeria used to have what they call the Sales Act of 1986. But going by this reform, that Sales Act of 1986 was repealed, giving birth or giving way to the introduction of the value-added tax. Then, about 9 years later, that's precisely in 2012, we had the national tax policy. This policy centered on proper restructuring, especially on the way and manner taxes were being administered. Please, we need to take note of the salient issue that occurred. The 1978 talked about introduction of withholding tax. 1993 talked about the introduction of value-added tax, repealing the Sales Act of 1976. Then the National Tax Policy of 2012 provided a framework for restructuring of our tax administration here in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Then that national tax policy was further revised 5 years later. That was in 2017. This revision of the national tax policy of 2017 emphasized majorly on promoting voluntary compliance, especially on the part of taxpayers. So this policy more or less asks taxpayers to voluntarily comply. So the issue of voluntary compliance came into existence by virtue of the National Tax Policy Review of 2017. Please let me also say here that this was not the only thing. There are other things, but these are the key issues that we need to go home with at the end of today's webinar. Then came the Finance Act of 2020. One of the significant remarks or issues that this reform brought about was the increment in the VAT rate. As at this period or prior to 2020, the VAT rate was running at 5%. But following the introduction of the Finance Act of 2020, the VAT rate jumped up from 5% to 7.5%. In addition to this, the Finance Act of 2020 further provided tax relief and other forms of incentive, especially for small businesses. It was at this period that once your turnover as a company falls within 0 to 25 million, you will have been exempted from paying the company income tax. So those are some of the outcome of the Finance Act, which is also the reform system that we are looking at. Then we now have the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform of 2023, which, to the glory of God, a couple of months ago, gave birth to this subject matter we are looking at. That is the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025. If you all recall, the President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency, Ahmed Bola Tinubu GCFR, signed into law those 4 bills that we'll be looking at. So the 2023 reform, which ended successfully in 2025, gave back to this reform. One thing is very, very paramount. This reform, as part of its mandate, was meant to achieve the following benefits. First and foremost, to review and redesign the Nigerian fiscal system, which have remained a bit dormant over the period. Again, to harmonize all the taxes collected at various levels of governance, be it at the federal level, state, and local government. Again, to harmonize all multiple taxes within the Nigerian tax system. To have a unified revenue collection function and mechanism across the entity called Nigeria. And finally, to engage in the harmonization of a collective tax reform system. So that was the mandate. That was the time of reference, which indeed has actually become a benefit. Just like I mentioned earlier on, that the tax reform review, which commenced in 2023, upon the assumption of office of His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu GCFR, mandated that committee to holistically look at our Nigerian tax code, look at the tax laws, think of how best to make those tax laws to be in tune to current development and reality. The world itself is a global village, and Nigeria as an entity is part of that global village. So we must do things that is comparable to what developed and developing nations are doing. So this committee for the last 2 years have worked assiduously in reviewing all our tax laws, expunging those ones that are not in tune in current reality and development. Again, you can also bear me witness that the government have been preaching more on FDI, foreign direct investment. There is no way we can have foreign direct investment when the business environment is not friendly, when the taxes are not accommodating. It is in view of all these challenges that this committee worked tirelessly, ably led by Mr. Taiwo Yedele, FCA, and at the end of it all, they came up with 4 major bills. What are those 4 major bills? You have them as the Nigerian Tax Bill, Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. So This is the outcome of the reform of 2023 that was successfully concluded in 2025. One thing is very paramount. For us to have a meaningful tax reform, whether now or in the future, because the fact remains that this will not be the last. Surprisingly, in the next 5 years, depending on the government direction, we may have another reform. But one thing is very paramount. Achieving a successful reform system within the tax jurisdiction is dependent upon the following issues. Improving our tax administration, ensuring that the tax rate is adjusted to be in line with current reality, enacting business-friendly tax laws, promoting an increment, especially within the tax base and the tax net, and more importantly, consolidating or merging excessive taxes into fewer ones. So that is what we need to do anytime we need to review the tax. You may be surprised. It may be somebody from Sokoto who may lead the next committee that will review. So when that time comes, please, all of this says must be brought to front burner in order to assist us to achieve that destination. Then back to the business of the day. This is why we are here. But I couldn't have just come straight to here, at least without taking us through the foundation, the basis of tax reform, especially from the evolution. What are the key changes? Distinguished colleagues, professionals, we need to take note of these changes. The changes are enormous, but for the ones that affect you and I, especially on day-to-day basis, are the ones I've been able to expunge from the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025. I was able to bring out from my personal study about 21 changes. I beg your pardon, 21 changes. What are those 21 changes? First on the list has to do with the harmonization of our tax laws. The next one has to do with agency harmonization, followed by harmonization of tax ID, digitalization process, centralizing access to physical data, reform with regards to VAT, reform with regards to company income tax, reform with regards to capital gain tax. Next slide, please. Next slide. We also have a key change with reference to personal income tax. There is what we call administrative reform system as captured in Nigerian Tax Act of 2025. We have the single structure change, tax agent regulation, abolition of pioneer status, new exemption threshold for small businesses, taxation of digital assets, stamp duty reform, introduction of development levy, the minimum effective tax rate, enactment of 4 bills, mandatory TIN registration for all and sundry. And the last but not the least, remember I said 21 are what we'll be looking at. Then we have the exemption on minimum tax. So those are the key changes that both of us will be looking at within the next few minutes. Let's start with the first one. What exactly are we saying with the first issue? Distinguished colleagues, one thing is very paramount. Prior to this period, the entity called Nigeria had well over 66 taxes and levies collectible across the federation. Yes, statistics put it at above 66. But as I speak, those 66 taxes have been consolidated. They have been merged to fewer number. So giving or abolishing what you may call multiple taxation. So it is a change that we must take note of. Another key change captured under the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025 has to do with agency harmonization. How do I mean? It is now on record that various federal agencies that have been collecting revenue on behalf of the federal government, such as the Nigerian Customs Service, Immigration Service, and the current Federal Revenue Service. All of them will now be consolidated and given a new name under what we call the Nigerian Revenue Service. So we'll no longer be having multiple agencies collecting levies or collecting taxes at different spots. So these things will now be done by one agency to be known and referred to as Nigerian Revenue Service. So please take note of that. Come January 1, 2026, if you go about looking for FRS, you may walk from beginning of this nation, Port Harcourt, to the end in Sokoto, you will not see any of such name because the name would have changed. Another key change that's captured under this act is the harmonization of tax ID. As it stands, most of us have numerous tax ID, but this act has come up with a harmonization procedure so that we now have a uniform or a single tax ID for identification. The Tax Act of 2025 also brought about the issue of digitalization process. You know, prior to now, we have a lot of paper system. You want to do something, they will ask you to bring documents. But this system has introduced electronic filing system. So I don't need to come to your office to come and do my filing at the comfort of my home, inside my car, inside the mosque, inside the church, wherever I am, that is very convenient. I can stay there and remit whatever I want to do my filing, make my payment, you know, giving away the issue of paperwork. Another important change captured in this Tax Act is the centralization asset to physical data. The new Tax Act has provided for a centralized access to physical data. So you have a place where you converge to have access to data other than moving about aimlessly. The VAT, which we saw earlier on, has also been reformed or revised. Though the rates did not change, we knew what happens during the committee's work. There was the proposal for increment, a gradual increment from 7.5 to 10 to 12.5, but that was cancelled because of the impact it will have on the masses. So the rate still remains at 7.5. There is no increment. However, there is a reform captured under section 148 of Nigerian Tax Act. What exactly is this section saying regarding reform with reference to VAT? VAT, which we already know as value-added tax, after being collected, is shared among the three arms of government. So this reform introduced a new sharing formula as recommended by the committee. And the sharing formula is that going forward, the federal government will receive 10% of whatever that is accruable. The state government will receive 55%, whereas the local government will receive 35%. The whole idea is to ensure that we bring development nearer home. Prior to this, what we had was that the federal government was retaining 15%, whereas the state was retaining 50%. So in this new act, the federal government have ceded, they have given away 5% of their own share to the local government. So as professionals, we have reason to ask questions from our government, our governors, chairmen, because they have a lot at their domain to actually make our environment to be worthwhile. Imagine the federal government retaining only 10% of the entire share of VAT collection, whereas 55 and 35 for state and local government respectively goes down. So we have a lot of questions to ask. Again, there is an expanded list on exemption of VAT. Going forward, the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025 give VAT exempt to the following items: basic food items, educational materials, pharmaceutical materials, and animal feed. Please, with the emphasis on those ones produced locally. If you go and buy animal feed produced in Ghana or Cameroon, it's not locally, you will pay VAT. But if the animal feed is produced locally here in Sokoto or in my hometown in Abia State, you will enjoy VAT exempt. So those are some of the key changes that this Tax Act brought to us. Again, there is also a minor reform with company income tax, though no upward review. But then it brought about the elimination of minimum tax, which we'll also see at the tail end of this slide. So minimum tax is hereby eliminated. Capital gain tax also witnessed a reform. Currently, the capital gain tax rate is ruling at 10%. But within the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, this rate has moved upward from 10% to 30%, making it to be in line with the corporate tax rate, especially for large companies. So the new rate now is 30%, no longer 10%. So practitioners, let's take note of this. Personal income tax, which belong to you and I, individuals, also witnessed a minor reform. The new Tax Act exempts individuals earning below 800,000. So if your annual income falls within that region, you will no longer be asked to pay tax. So there is an exemption for those classes of persons. Still on the key changes, we also have an administrative reform. In this new act called Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, it gave room for the establishment of the Nigerian Revenue Service, which I've made mention earlier on. This service will now take over the job done currently by Customs Service and Immigration and etc., etc. Again, there is also the introduction of the Tax Appeal Tribunal and the Tax Ombudsman. The Tax Ombudsman is meant to assist taxpayers to ensure that they do not suffer unjustly, especially when it comes to tax adjudication between the Revenue Authority and the taxpayer. Next slide. Single structure change that have been said earlier on. So we'll now have the Nigerian Revenue Service replacing the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the coordinating all manner of revenue collection accruable to the federal government across the nation. There is also the issue of tax agent regulation. The Nigerian Tax Act provided for a tax agent whose job primarily is to oversee the various bodies, with the Nigerian Revenue Service playing a pivotal role in this regard. For those of us who were students of the old when it comes to tax, pioneer status, the Nigerian Tax Act has actually abolished this, and the pioneer status is to be replaced with what is called Economic Development Tax Incentive, popularly known as EDI. So if you're looking for pioneer status, you may look from now to the end without seeing it. But that have now been changed with a new name called Economic Development Tax Incentive. Distinguished colleagues, we now have a new exemption threshold for small businesses. You know, the Finance Act of 2020 for the first time classifies small businesses as companies whose turnover range falls within 0 to 25 million. But going by the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, that threshold has moved upward from 0 to 50 million. So if your turnover falls within this region, you will no longer be asked to pay tax. So there is a new exemption threshold for small businesses. The NTA, popularly known as Nigerian Tax Act, also brought about taxation of digital assets. Prior to now, digital assets were not subjected to tax. Yes, somebody may ask me, what exactly are we saying when we talk about digital assets? Digital asset may include assets such as cryptocurrency. For some of us that trade with cryptocurrency, where you make gain, it will be subjected to tax. For some of us who are writers, who write books, if you now put your book online and you want people to subscribe and pay for it, you will also be subjected to. Ebooks will be subjected to tax. For those of us in the entertainment world who can sing from now till a time in the future, money made in that regard will also be subjected to tax. So all forms of digital activities, even the content creators, you know, that happens to be the engine. Now everybody is going into content creation. Please let it be known to you that any income made in that regard will be subjected to tax as far as Nigerian Tax Act of 2025 is concerned. The stamp duty also witnessed a minor reform with emphasis on Section 125 of the Act, provided a reform as regards stamp duty. As we are all aware, stamp duty is currently being administered by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, but effective January 1, 2026, when this act would have fully commenced operation, the stamp duty will now be administered by the Nigerian Revenue Establishment Board under the advice of the Nigerian Postal Service. So it will be shifted from FRS and moved to the Nigerian Revenue Establishment Board, but to be supervised by the Nigerian Postal Service. Next slide. Development levy. I am so much interested with this. Yes. Why am I shouting? Why am I saying I'm so much interested with this? For those of us in education, you know, the old era had education tax at the rate of 2%. From 2%, it went to 2.5. From 2.5, lastly, it went to 3%. But in the new act, popularly known as Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, we will no longer be having education tax. You know, apart from education tax, we also have some other minor levies, police levy and what have you. So all those minor levies and taxes have not been jettisoned. So we will now have one collectible levy known as development levy. And this development levy will be applicable at the rate of 5% of our assessable profit. Yes, I remember that associate profit went further to ask us to differentiate between total profit and assessable profit. So after you must have deducted all your deductible, such as capital allowance and what have you, that profit left will be subjected to 4% assessment. And one good thing is that this 4, having been collected and known as development levy, will be shared to the following agencies in the following ratio. For the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, popularly known as TED Fund, which is the agency that provides funding for all our tertiary institutions, universities, colleges of education, and politics alike, they will receive half of that money. So which means 50% of the total collectible under development levy will go to Tertiary Education Trust Fund. Recently, the president set up what they call the National Loan Fund sometime in 2023, which is meant to provide sub-loan for our students, teaching students who may not be able to provide the wherewithal to cushion the effect of the high inflation rates regarding their schooling. They can approach the NEL Fund for assistance. So the development levy, after collection, will see that 50% of what is collected to this loan fund, such that our undergraduate youth and students can also have access to loan. The Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency, popularly known as NITAD, will receive 10% of that collection. NASENI, which is known as National Agency for Science, Engineering, and Infrastructure, is to receive 10%. Cyber security, there are a lot of problems going within the cyber world. And for the government to address the issue of cyber security issues, 5% from the development levy collected will go to this regard. And lastly, in order to maintain defense and security of the nation, defense will receive 10%. So giving us a total of 100%. So this development levy is to be shared in that ratio to those 6 agencies. So please take note of that. Another significant change captured under the Nigerian Tax Act of 25 has to do with the minimum effective tax rate. Like I said, with reference to the Nigerian Tax Act, the minimum effective tax rate is to be apportioned at the rate of 15% of the company's net income. This was not there before. It's a new introduction. And it also applies to Nigerian companies whose members form part of multinational group. So if you work in a company that has a parent, and the parent is a multinational, at the end of your period, you must set aside 15% of your net income at minimum effective tax rate. Again, if you also recall in my introductory remark, one of the key changes captured under Nigerian Tax Act, which has to do with the harmonization of our tax laws. So this harmonization brought about the enactment of 4 major bills recently signed into law. And once again, these 4 bills are as follows: the Nigerian tax bill that takes care of all our tax issues, then administration tax bill, the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the last but not the least, the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. Is another key change that you must take into consideration. More importantly, the Nigerian Tax Act also made a compulsory or mandatory registration of tax identification number. So it is no longer business as usual, where some of us will set up a company and will not want to obtain TIN and will be hiding. So now it is now mandatory that you must get yourself registered for TIN. And again, if at any point in time you witness a significant change or changes in your activity or operation, or even your nomenclature or your address, please, such change must be communicated to the appropriate quarters within 30 days. That is 1 month. Let's assume I used to operate in Sokoto and suddenly I moved to Birnin-Kebbi. Within the next 30 days, I need to notify the revenue service regarding the change in address or what have you. The last but not the least, which I made mention when I was talking about the company income tax reform, though we did not witness any change in the tax rate, apart from the increment in threshold for small businesses, the issue of minimum tax is hereby repealed or exempted. So we no longer have a minimum tax under this new regime. Distinguished colleagues, those are the major changes which I feel as contemporary professionals, we must have this information at our doorstep. Imagine you are trying to do a computation, you still go back to compute education levy when education levy is no longer in force, that will not have development levy. You would have shortchanged yourself only to realize when the tax pro math will throw you out with 4% when you are done. So we need to take this in very, very serious. What are the implications of these changes? Implications are summarized as follows. In no special order, these key changes, the ones I have mentioned, and the other ones I could not mention because of time factor, is that it will stimulate economic growth. No nation can advance forward without a movement in economic growth, which will suddenly transcend to economic development. For those of us who have bias in economics, they will understand me better. Apart from that, too, this reform is aimed at promoting a competitive business environment. It will enhance a simplified compliance platform whereby taxpayers can willingly comply without being chased around. You know, one thing I've told my client, I've started educating them, there is no hiding place. It is no longer business as usual when it comes to next year. If you don't come, they will come and look for you. So this reform is meant to achieve that at the end of the day. It also facilitates a level playing ground for businesses to thrive within the system. More importantly, it also facilitates a level playing ground, which will also attract businesses, especially in the area of foreign direct investment. It will support globalization. The word itself is the global village. So I don't need to come to your office to do anything. Just like I am not in Sokoto and we are communicating, talking to ourselves. That's the word of globalization. So that's one other thing that the tax act seems to promote. More importantly, this tax act seems to promote transparency, especially on the part of the taxpayers. So there is no hidden place again. Everything is transparently done. Imagine when you have a uniform tax ID. Once money comes in, everything is captured under your name. For those of us in the corporate world, the financial accountant, it will give greater credence and support to better reporting system, you know, which will also assist the revenue service in their own assessments. It will also overhaul the Nigerian tax framework. This reform will go a long way in addressing this monster called tax evasion and tax avoidance. So for those of us who engage in this, there may be no place for you under the new tax act. Again, it will lower the tax burden. Yeah, the tax burden will be lowered. It will further promote progressive tax regime. I love this one so much. So this is a period when we're going to witness pay as you earn. So for those that earn more, you pay more. For those that earn less, you pay less. For those that earn middle, you pay middle. So you pay as you earn. This reform will also impact positively in promoting investment incentive to businesses. Depending on your class, you will enjoy some form of incentive. It will address the issue of corruption and leakages within the system and other forms of sharp practices. You know, where everything is now digitalized, it may be difficult for people to begin to cut corners because everything is transparently monitored. For the low-income earners, they will be better off under this new tax act. We saw it when we were looking at the personal income tax, that once your annual income is 800,000 below, you will enjoy taxes then. So the low-income earners, they will be better off in this regard compared to the old regime. Then last but not the least, the digital process will improve the ease of tax filing connected with tax remittances. So I don't need to be moving about just to do my filing. Because everything has been digitalized, I can stay anywhere I am and do my filing, make my payment without stress. The question that will be coming through our mind is, what do we need to do in order to enjoy this tax act? And that we'll see under the compliance strategy. So this is where those of us as tax professionals, we need to sit up. Work needs to be done. First on the list is that we need to cultivate a clear-cut orientation and desensitization across board. So the onus lies on us to begin to educate. That's the summary of what we have there. We need to educate our clients. We need to educate them regarding this new regime we have found ourselves, the changes and the implications. So without education, we are going nowhere. And I think that is one of the reasons why the government provided for a 6-month transition program. If you recall, this act was signed into law in June, and the commencement date is meant to start January 1. So we have a 6-month period to do proper training, proper orientation, proper education, proper sensitization, so that everybody will be in tune. So there is no case of, oh, I was not aware, nobody told me. Apart from that too, as masses, we must cultivate the habit of willingness to accept change. One thing I've come to realize, especially in this part of the world, is that humans do not like change. I don't know, we are very, very stubborn when it comes to change. You always see people, this is not how we've been doing it. And who says we cannot try new method? So we need to tell ourselves the truth that we need to embrace this change. So there must be willingness and resolution to embrace change, because that is the only way this tax act can be duly implemented. Advocacy program need to be enshrined across stakeholders that have been said earlier on. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me at this juncture pause a bit and sincerely commend our great institute, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ably led by the 61st president, Malam Haruna Mmayaya, PhD, MNI, FCA, for taking the bold step just barely few months after the Tax Act was signed into law to invite the chairman of that committee, Mr. Taiwo Yedele, FCA, to talk to us. You know, before any other professional association had the privilege of hearing from him, our own institute, led by the 64th president, invited him. And it was at that forum that some of us started understanding some of these issues captured in the new Tax Act. So that is the way to go. I must thank ICANN for that. Apart from ICANN, I must also extend a hand of fellowship to CICN, and they have also done their own, even though all other bodies are coming after ICANN have invited the chairman. CIBN is also doing the same thing, especially on the implication of the Tax Act with reference to bank customers. Distinguished colleagues and audience, let me sincerely applaud ICANN, Sokoto, and District Society for a fantastic job they have been doing. In fact, when I had the privilege of speaking with the chairman, I was perplexed with what he had in stock for us as members. I want to beat my chest and say confidently that Sokoto District Society is blessed, because at the end of this chairmanship year, if you're a member of the district and you cannot practice tax, you cannot even talk about the Tax Act, then you must look for another district, because your leadership have rolled out enormous topics regarding this contemporary issue. There is money in tax, so it's high time we embrace that mentality and culture. Key into these things and make sure that you are not being left behind. So kudos to the chairman, members of the executive team, and the entire Sokoto and District Society. This is the second webinar we are having, and it's also on tax reform. So I must commend them. It's part of the compliance strategy that we need to do. And your district, our district, is doing marvelously well. In addition to what the institute have done, we need to promote digital process across board. So it's high time we talk to our clients on the need to adopt the new normal. They must go by digital process. Again, for the professionals, we need to engage in consultancy service. We need to tutor and mentor our clients on this key change. You don't just mentor them today and say they have talked. It should be an ongoing exercise. Yes, the Tax Act is not something that you learn one day. It's not something that you give out one day. So from time to time, let them understand the implication of these things so that they become part and parcel of them over time. I cannot emphasize on the need for accurate record keeping. Yes, we must ensure that we keep proper records, and this must be preached. Tax planning services must not be toyed with. So we need to engage in tax planning services. Next slide, please. We need to engage in tax planning services because that's also another way that this compliance strategy can be achieved. Having looked at the key changes, having looked at the implications, having then looked at the compliance strategy, let's quickly, within the next few minutes, look at the impact. What do I stand to gain as an individual with this Tax Act of 2025? As earlier said, low-income earners will enjoy tax exempt. So if you are earning anything within 800, 1 million, you will no longer be asked to pay tax. So it's a plot for them. Again, there is also a reduction in payee for any individual who is earning a monthly salary of 1.7 million or below. So if you earn that, you will pay lesser. Low-income earners are to enjoy tax holiday. Any rent below 10 million to enjoy stamp duty, exempt stamp duty. For those of us that work remotely, you also to enjoy friendly tax rule under the new scheme. There is also the issue of clarification on digital assets. You know, I made mention of taxation of digital assets. So for us as individuals, there is a clear-cut clarification so that we do not suffer what we call double taxation. Members of the armed forces, please let's pay attention to this, especially for those of us that live in the trouble zones. Members of the armed forces who are fighting vigorously to address the issue of insecurity, both at the northeast, the south-south, the southeast, and wherever we have challenges, will enjoy payee tax exempt. So this one is peculiar to armed forces currently fighting for insecurity. And there is also a tax incentive for employers to recruit more people incrementally in previous 3 years. Individuals and households to enjoy zero VAT, or what you call VAT exempt, on healthcare, educational materials, and electricity. And finally, there is also the issue of VAT exemption on transportation and renewable energy. So as individuals, those are things we stand to benefit. Payee, in the area of payee, tax holiday, in the area of tax exempt for payee, for those of us in armed forces, etc., etc. Let's look at the impact of the Nigerian Tax Act with recourse to businesses, please, with emphasis on small, because this webinar focused on small. Maybe in the next time, we may look at it from the larger companies. So for smaller companies known as SMEs, income of small businesses are not to be subjected to withholding tax deduction. So they will enjoy withholding tax exemption. As earlier captured, the definition of small businesses have changed from 0 to 25 million, using that as a yardstick, to 0 to 50 million. Small businesses are to be exempted from payment of company income tax. That has been said earlier on. There is also the creation of the tax ombudsman, which is meant to adjudicate any form of tax disputes between regulatory authorities and taxpayers. And this is supposed to take place within 14 days. So it's a plus to us. Again, still on the impact of small businesses, the well over 60-something taxes have now been consolidated to fewer taxes. So you don't have anything to worry in this regard. The Nigerian Tax Act of 2025 seeks to favor tax regime that will boost strong harmonization of businesses within the country. Thus, as earlier stated, promoting economic growth and development. Businesses are now to be exempted from requirement to deduct and account for payment on suppliers. And lastly, but not the least, the Act also provided for a simplified reporting mechanism for small companies. How do I mean? As a small business company, it's no longer compulsory for you to file audited financial statement. So at the end of the period, you may prepare an in-house management account and file without being penalized. Unlike in the old era, where you must get a licensed auditor to audit your books, and you know that this will not be done free of charge, you need to pay. But the new Tax Act have said you can prepare that on your own. So those are the impact on individuals and businesses with emphasis on small. What are the likely benefits? Because that will be the icing of the cake. Having looked at all these things, do we stand to gain anything from all this noise we'll be making concerning the tax reform? The answer is capital yes, and also no. Yes, in the sense that we have benefit, no, in the sense that we have challenges. One of the benefits that we stand to gain is that government revenue will be boosted. Yes, because if this is properly addressed, all those leakages and wastages will be eliminated, thereby ensuring that whatever that is accruable to the government comes in. The next one is that the reform oftentimes brings about the issue of employment generation. Yes, a lot of people will be engaged. You know, once you have a new thing, some people take advantage of that newness to make an impact. So jobs will be created. A lot of people are going to tax education, tax consulting, knowing fully well that the market is virgin, looking for more persons to come in. So there'll be job creation going by this reform. Reform again will also favor businesses, especially in the area of attracting FDI, foreign direct investment. One thing is very paramount. If you have a friendly tax jurisdiction, or if you have a friendly tax regime, businesses will want to strive, both the existing ones and the ones coming from outside. But if your tax landscape is very hostile, you may be surprised. Existing businesses will die off. Those that want to come will choose to go another way. So that is one thing that we need to take home. Reform bring about new advancement in the area of research and development, because a lot of people want to research and develop new ideas in order to stay afloat in the new normal. Professional development will also be increased. That's exactly what we are doing today. If not for the Tax Reform Act, I don't think I'll be privileged to come and learn from you. And I also do not think that some of us will be here. We would have also been somewhere else, probably in the party hall or attending one wedding or the other. So there is the issue of professional development. Yes, we begin to learn because we continue to learn. And just like I said, you are blessed. For those of us who are members of Sokoto and District, please count yourself highly privileged. You will learn and learn and learn and become to and begin to mentor other ones. So the issue of professional development cannot be emphasized once you have a reform system. Then lastly, using this recent tax reform as a case study, it has provided additional funding. Yes, that funding cannot be overemphasized. Like I said, the president, upon assumption of office, created the Nigerian Loan Fund, known as NEL Fund. That fund is meant to provide additional support, especially for indigent students who may not be able to pay for their tuition. So that is one thing. If not for this reform, we may not have had that NEL Fund being established. That's all about that for the benefit. There are two sides to a coin, head and tail. Having seen the head, let's see the tail, which is actually the last thing in the slide. Drawback. There are bound to be higher taxes in some regard, because most times when you have a reform, some will go down, some will go up. Take for instance, CGT have moved from 10 to 30. That's an increment. We have the abolition of all those levies, now moving to development of 4%. So higher taxes and tax rate may occur. Again, we must not overemphasize the unwillingness of some persons to embrace change. Some people will do everything humanly possible to kick against change. We may also witness insufficient manpower because it's not everybody that may have the wherewithal, the technical competency to lead in this new regime. Then there could also be issue of limited tax awareness, but I want to believe that that is not it's not the case with Sokoto district, because when it comes to awareness, the district is doing marvelously well. But some other places, they may suffer from this awareness issue. Next slide, please. We may also witness the issue of lack of publicity. Yes, if you don't publicize, people will not know about the tax reform. You only be known to you. We may also experience slow communication and communication in letting the student and professionals know of these new changes. And lastly, but not the least, is that some of this reform oftentimes comes with some high-level complexity. This complexity will take a while to understudy. You begin to learn new things. How do I apply the 4%? What is now my accessible profit? Or even the development levy, how do I apportion it? All of those things are challenges that tax reform certainly will bring to us. Conclusion. No doubt, this month's technical session has offered us the opportunity to critically dissect the new Tax Act, popularly known as Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, with greater emphasis on the major changes, their implications, and above all, the compliance strategies that need to be deployed in order to ensure that we drive home this act. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I want to sincerely thank you all for listening. Thank you once again, and God bless.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We appreciate you. Everyone, let's join hands to say thank you for the man who sabi, the man who knows all. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation, sir. Please join me. Please, sir. I hope you'll be listening to give us an answer to questions that will be asked by the participants, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm here with you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you so much, too.
Okay, sir. Questions from, you can raise up your hand for questions. Also, you can chat up your question for us to ask the doctor to explain better or put more light on question where you think you need more explanation. Questions, please. Before your hand up, we have some question on chat booths. Please,
okay.
Sir, I don't know, maybe you can listen to, you are hearing me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. There are a question from Haruna. Mr.
Okay.
Haruna said, has the minimum of 800,000 exempted from payee, not revising the early exempted of national minimum wages, whose current gross is 840,000 per annum?
840,000.
Yes, that is what the Haruna said, sir.
Can you take the question again?
Okay. He said, has the minimum of 800,000 exempted under payee, not reversing the earlier exempt of national minimum wages, whose current gross is 840,000 per annum.
Okay. Okay, noted. Go ahead. Can I take all the questions once and for all?
Sorry, sir. The question are not just, maybe you can just answer this one while I check for other questions, sir.
Okay. It's just a matter of semantic. How do I mean by semantic? Yes, the minimum wage is put at 83,000. They're about 83 point something. So when you gross it up for the next 12 months, what would that give you? That is something within the neighborhood of 800. So there is no cause for alarm. Yes, when the committee was looking at it, they put it at 800. But that does not mean that if your take home as captured under the national minimum wage is 840, you will not also be exempted from tax. So both are exempted from payee. That is the way to look at it. It's semantic.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate. A question from Makinde requesting for, thank you for this, sir. Please, what is the position of minimum wage, minimum tax as regards the new tax reform?
It was clearly stated, minimum tax is hereby abolished.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, there is nothing called minimum tax any longer.
Okay, sir. Someone also asked, sir, that what is the impact of tax paid on the private school that are registered as a business name?
Impact of
tax on the private school that are registered as a private name, private business, as a business name, sorry.
Can you take the question again? I didn't get it well. The impact of
tax. What he's saying is
private
that,
school that are registered.
Yes, okay. That some private schools registered as a business name. So what is the available taxes for them, since our educational institutions are exempted from VAT now? So that's what the person is trying to say.
Okay.
Let me add one more so that you answer them together.
Okay.
Then that can you please shed more light on the effective tax rates each year?
Okay.
Then the other one says that what is the position of minimum tax as regards the new tax reform? Thank you. Let's just answer them for us together.
Okay. The impact of tax paid by private schools. Yes, registered as business name. Business names by structure are not liable to company income tax. That's what you need to know. Those that are liable to income tax are companies registered as limited liability companies. But as a business name, you are not liable to pay tax. Then coming to the fact that this business name again are into school or what you may call education related issue, tax is also being exempted. The only tax that can be paid in this regard is payee for their workers, their staff, the teachers. That is the only thing. But as an entity, there is no tax for them, only the payee. So they'll be liable to pay as you earn tax, pay as you earn tax. I think that addresses that question. Another person talked about the effect of minimum tax. I said it earlier on that minimum tax is abolished in this new tax act of 2025. We no longer have it. Unlike in the old era when we had the minimum tax. But here, minimum tax is hereby abolished. I think the other one talked about what? Minimum effective tax rate.
Effective tax rates. That you shed more light on it.
Okay. What this rate is saying, or what this tax is saying, is that for businesses classified as multinationals or businesses whose parent companies have offices outside the country, at the end of the year, your net income should be subjected to tax. And currently, the rate is applicable at 15%. So 15% of your net income will serve as your ETR, the minimum effective tax rate. That is the position. So it's mostly applicable to multinationals or companies that are into a group structure. I remember those days when we were writing ICANN, we have what they call a group and a parent subsidiary. So if you are in a group relationship or you are classified as a multinational, your net income will be subjected to 15% tax rate. So that is the position. So it's not applicable to small companies.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know whether there's any other thing.
Yes, Mr. Ablasis, please, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Followed by Mr. Ibilo. Sorry, if it is Mr. or Mrs. Bilo. Mr. Matthew, follow up as well, please.
All right, thank you for
Kindly unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello,
yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you?
Yes. All right. Now, my question is it. The in respect of the, what do they call it, tax exemption for PE, I think it was stated 800,000, that is annually. So by the time it is divided, it will be around maybe 60,000 thereabout monthly. So those are the only people that can be exempted. So now it was also mentioned that a household that earns 250,000 naira. So I would like you to throw more light on that. Does it mean that if one of the household member earns 800 and then another person earns 1.2, making 2 million or something, 800. Oh, I want you to just say something about that 250.
Where did you get your 250 from, please? Which section of the Act?
I think it was mentioned during the presentation previously, not on this session.
I wish to know the exact section.
Okay.
And so I can be able to address it. Because I am not privy to that. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, but there is a particular place they were talking about household income that has to do with household in respect of PE.
Are you sure it's with reference to PE?
I'm sorry,
yes,
my doctor. I'm sorry for interruption, doctor. That 250,000 was not mentioned at all in your presentation. You are being misquoted. Nothing like 250,000 mentioned. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
No, okay, no problem. It's not on this presentation. It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think I'm next. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mrs. Ibilibo. Good afternoon, presenter. I think you did a wonderful job. Thank you very much for your presentation. I still want to talk about PE. Before now, there are parts of an income that is exempted from PE. You know, we used to have relief higher of 200,000 and 1% of gross pay. So I now know that if you are earning 800,000 and below, you are exempted from tax. I just want to find out, for people who earn more than 800,000 and above, do they still have to come under this relief? These reliefs, are they still applicable? Do we still have the relief of higher of 200,000 or 1% of gross pay to get your taxable income? Or is it that 100% of the gross pay now is now taxable income?
Okay. What we actually address has to do with the exemption. When it comes to those that earn 800 and above, yes, they have a rate. And that is also another topic for another day. Because if we go into payee calculation now, believe you me, in the next 2 hours, we will not get done. But if I bring the tax rates, I think I did remember Professor Iwundu saying last session that the next class will be practical. To address your question, there is a tax rate applicable for those earning above 800,000 and 800,000 above, and is also a subject of its own. So that is what I can say for now.
No, it's okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Doctor, Mrs. Bilibo, you can check that link on the chat. It will be helpful. So after that, when we come to practical, you can come.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you.
I've shared
the practical issue is another training on itself, where we need to demonstrate your income vis-a-vis the applicable rate, especially for those that earn 800,000 and above.
Thank you, sir, Doctor. Mr. Ibrahim Yunusa, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you, the moderator, Alhaji Bello. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My able doctor, thank you very much for the wonderful and impactful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Doctor, I have 3 questions for you, but I'm too sure at a go you can answer them. Sir, on the issue of the minimum tax exemptions for the Nigerian companies, that is CIT. So if you look at the way we're computing our company income tax, it's possible you can have adjusted profit, but you still go ahead by computing the minimum tax because you have to make a comparison between company income tax computed and that of the minimum tax. Whichever is higher, then you're going to pay. Now, what I wanted to ask in respect of this is now, is it the minimum tax exempted? Is it based on the one we computed or the one that is stated in our financial statement? You know, some companies used to suffer loss since from their financial statement. From there, you see loss. When you reverse the computation by adding what are you expected to add it back and deduct what you're going to deduct, at last we may arrive at the adjusted profit. Now, the minimum tax, is it exempted from the assessable profit or is it exempted from the company income tax computed? I'm sorry, sir. I think you get the question, sir. My doctor, did you get the question?
I can you repeat it? The line is breaking.
Okay, what we should do now, companies are exempted from paying the minimum tax. And the reason why companies are required by law to pay minimum tax is because they've been sustaining loss. Now, the minimum tax for companies that have already sustained loss, are they the one exempted from paying minimum tax? Or even if you computed your minimum tax now, you are still exempted from paying that minimum tax? Am I correct now, sir?
Yes, I got you. The law is explicit.
Okay.
The law is not meant for one group of persons and leaving the other way around. The fact is very straight that under these new tax acts, minimum tax is hereby exempted. So irrespective of whether it was computed or whether you are the one that made loss and trying to. I think I get you well now.
Thank you very much, sir. So the last one is on the issue of zero rated.
Pardon?
So I think zero rated commodities. You make mention that transmission and generation electricity are exempted. Now they are zero rated. So I did not discuss about the distribution aspect where the end users are enjoying the purchase of the electricity. I was expecting that the distribution aspect also will be zero rated. You made mention of transmission, you made mention of the Generation, but you didn't make mention of the.
Distribution.
Is it a law that exonerated as a distribution aspect?
You're right. It was an oversight. Like I told you, I pick the ones I captured as very essential.
Okay.
Are you with me now? I couldn't.
Yes,
if I had listed everything, probably the slides would have been up to 90. So I was trying to compress. Yes, distribution is part of it, not only generation.
Thank you very much.
I felt since I have mentioned electricity, and let me mention another item so that we could also have a feel of other items.
Okay.
So thank you for your comments. It's well noticed.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Yunus, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We appreciate your response and the explanation.
Thank you, sir.
Alhaji Ismail, please, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you, sir. Well done, my amiable doctor.
Thank you, sir.
It's good that we have you here. Yeah, the question is coming from one other colleague, in person of Mohammed Mahe, MB033705. Is asking the doctor to shed more light on self-charged VAT and its implications on the new tax acts. Thank you. That you shed more light on the self-charged VAT and its implication on the in the new tax acts.
Okay. All right.
Did you get it right?
Self-VAT charge, right?
Self-charge VAT, yes, VAT charge, yes.
Okay.
And its implications in this new tax acts.
Okay, let me start with the implication, which I did mention. If you recall, when I was talking about the implication of this Nigerian tax act, one of the things that I mentioned, if you recall, has to do with compulsory compliance on the part of taxpayer. And I summarized by saying that there is no hiding place under the new regime. Gone are the days when the tax authority is coming after you. You are the one to come after them or go after them. So this new tax act has put in place a voluntary system of compliance, not only in the area of VAT, but across all the taxes that the government are entitled to. So with the self-charged VAT, it posits to state that as a taxpayer, once you have earned your income, depending on your line of business, you apply the rate 7.5 on that income. Going by the digitalization process that Nigerian Revenue Service have put in place, which is the service replacing FRS, immediately you do your filing electronically and make your payment. So it's not a case of the Revenue Service coming after you to make that payment or to do the filing. It is not the job of the taxpayer, who's maybe with the assistance of his tax consultant, does the computation, do the filing, and make appropriate payment. So the end point of this is that the new Tax Act has inculcated a habit of compulsory compliance on the part of the taxpayer. And the resultant effect is that government revenue will be boosted. Can you imagine when everybody voluntarily pays what he or she is supposed to pay with recourse to VAT? Then this shortfall that we have been crying for over the years will be addressed. So in a nutshell, the implication is that it will boost revenue and it will encourage voluntary compliance on all and sundry as far as VAT and other taxes are concerned. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We have a question here. What is the position of the new act on NGOs who are operating within their object clause are receiving grants from abroad on specific projects, are they expected to file an annual return?
Okay. It's very simple. By structure, NGOs are not subject to tax. However, where such NGOs have engaged in other services through which income are being earned, then they will be subjected to pay tax. Take, for instance, I run an NGO. Instead of me to use the money collected to better the lots of the indigent people or those for which the money was meant for, I have now diverted that money to go into trading activity. I say, let me trade with it and make some money. Later, I will come back and attend to the indigent persons. Any income, any profit made in that direction certainly will be subjected to tax. So NGOs that have gone into trading activities under the new Tax Act will have no hiding place when it comes to tax remittances. You know, when I was looking at the key changes, we'll talk about a whole lot of issues. TIN number registration, harmonization of tax ID, and all these things are interrelated even with your bank account. So any money that comes in will be known to the revenue authorities as to what this money is meant for. So monies diverted for business activities, income received in that regard will be subjected to tax. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have just a question here. There's no any hands presently raised for a question. Kazim Alade said, what is the position of those levies, dues, market store fees collected in markets, motor parks in relation to the new tax regime?
The issue of levies, fines, what again do I call it? Collected at market shops. Those are income accruable to the local government. Yes, and it's part of what this act came to address, the issue of multiple taxation, whereby the artisan, the man on the street, is subjected to multiple taxes. You know, under the new Tax Act, all those things are to be wiped off. But then you cannot rule out bad elements. When I say bad elements, you know, the issue of unwillingness to accept change. Some state governments, some local government may also, under the guise of anything, or under the guise of any name, to be collecting that. But the Tax Act, the new Tax Act, have abolished such. So we now have a uniform, or what you call a unified tax to be collected. So levies, multiple taxes, kiosks, and what have you, do not have a place under the new Tax Act.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Every
so much,
other person that have other question can be sent to the district so that we can get in touch with a doctor to give explanation to your question. Thank you very much, doctor, for your time, for everything, for the love of Sokoto district and for the love of Sokoto Caliphate. We appreciate, sir. We appreciate you. And we believe we are always be there for us, and you continue to be there for us. Thank you, sir.
God bless you, sir. Sokoto is my home.
Thank you, sir.
I'm part of.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, if you have any other question, please, you can direct the question to the district. We will get in touch with a doctor to answer your question. Please, the chairman want to set on a poll. Please, kindly help us fill it up. While that one is going on, we expect a vote of thanks from our brother. Please, Vote of thanks from our brother Alhaji Ado Muhammad Abubakar from Kano District. Please, can you help us give us the vote of thanks? Thereafter, presentation of gifts will be presented by the chairman. Please, Alhaji Abubakar, can you help us with?
Okay. Good afternoon, good afternoon, professional colleagues. Yes, as rightly mentioned, my name is Ado Muhammad Bakar, FCA, the 36th chairman of Kano and District Society, and who coincidentally happened to be the mother district for the Sokoto and District Society, having been sponsored its creation some couple of years ago. I don't know where to start. The Able District Coordinator and our council member, Dr. Kingsley Ndubuze IOZ FCA FCTI, has done really justice to this paper. And I'm very sure that all those that attended this paper are leaving this forum well informed. And I pray that this would instigate most of us, it will push us up to expand our knowledge. As he rightly mentioned in his presentation, there are series or so many opportunities. The task landscape is now very virgin, and those who are able to update themselves and try to catch up would really be at advantage. So on behalf of the entire members of Sokoto and District Society and all members that attend this webinar from nooks and crannies of the world, I am sending a very big thank you to our able presenter and the council member, Dr. Kingsley, for the job well done. And I would also like to thank the Sokoto and District Society, especially the chairman, my good friend, Alaji Ganiyu A. Mustafa, FCA, who has been doing very well even when he was the vice chairman, when he was the secretary, to be sure that members of the institute as well and other members of the society are being updated free of charge, courtesy of him and his district societies. So on behalf of all those that also attended, I wish to thank a very big thank you to the Sokoto and District Society for doing this great job. Thank you so much. And we wish to also attend another webinar being created by Sokoto and District Society. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman, please, can you help us?
All right. Can we all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yes, I would have done say much than what Alhaji Ado have said, but just to add my voice to that, I believe at the end of today's webinar, all we need to do when we share the material and other resources is for us to go back probably to look at this slide in details, because it has already compressed all the bills, all the 4 bills, right from Nigerian tax bill, Nigerian tax administration bill, up to the end. I think Dr. Kingsley has done justice to this. So on this note, we're actually happy to have you to be our district coordinator. We can knock your door at any time we want. I could recall last week I said, oh, we have one issue with the institute, and within twinkle of our eyes, you are able to help us resolve that. So as part of our custom, doctor, this is just the little token of our FITRA plaque. As you know, we're going to be sending the art one to you, to your location. On this note, we'll be happy to receive you at a seat of Caliphate anytime you have a chance, maybe during our annual dinner or sometime to come. But before then, Doc, I want you to be on standby as well, as we're planning how we bring up the practical section to limelight so that we go beyond this and we ensure that the certification that we are planning towards will be recognized by FRC, ICANN, and other regulatory agencies. So on behalf of Sokoto and District Society, please kindly accept this token of appreciation of the FITRA plaque presented to you as our district coordinator, as well as our presenter for today. We pray that God will increase you in all ramifications and add to your knowledge so that you can benefit more humanity than this. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful people.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Revert past chairman, sir. Do have a
Secretary, can we have the closing item?
Okay, right. Come in. Just a second.
Technical Secretary is set.
Yes. Can you hear me, please?
Technical Secretary, please go on, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Lord, I can count up treasure in triumph and race, standing stronger in harmony, building a land together. Dreams of a founding fathers, we are striving to attain our codes and values that we share. Through all ages we sustain. Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, noble like and your accuracy we cherish. We uphold your
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Do have a
Thank you,
wonderful
sir. We wish to
weekend.
call you once.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. Enjoy
much.
the rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much.
God bless you
Yes.
all.
Thank
We'll
you.
share the
My
Family.
pastor, my God, you are looking
Well
good.
delivered.
Sir. Well done,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Amos was telling me
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate.
God bless you, man.